martial arts specifically. I wasn't familiar with the form of Chinese Goju that you practice. What is it that distinguishes this form, this art? What is it that attracted you to that? Was it the spiritual aspect of it? Was it that's what you were first taught? What was it that interested you in that?
Well, that style was developed from when I was a kid. I was training with Ron Van Cleef, the Black Dragon, and it really came from not wanting to get your ass beat. Because he came from Vietnam. He was a Marine, and I grew up partly in Europe, but also. In fact, guys, I got an autobiography. That's one of the reasons. I'm on a big book tour going around the country and basically tell all about what's been going on since The Last Dragon and before, but with that style, Ron Van Cleef came from a karate background, and he also studied Muay Thai and the Chinese Five Animal System and Wing Chun with a lot of masters in Hong Kong. And he did films in Hong Kong. When I was a little kid, I saw him in a movie called The Black Dragon. And at that time, I was studying Taekwondo with a Korean teacher in New York. And I was naturally, I would hit hard, not trying to hit hard, but my brother used to beat me up all the time. So when I went to these karate tournaments, the point tournaments, I would get disqualified a lot. And then people were like, oh, you need to train with Ron Van Cleef. He likes to beat people up. And I was like, okay, I'll try that. But it was the movie that I saw that made me have the courage to go to his school, because he had a reputation of being tough, But that was Ron Van Cleef's style was pretty intense, like example, as soon as you walk in, he said, okay, 100. I don't care how old you are, you can be 12. 100 push-ups and 100 deep knee bends over there with the rope. You go down, up, down, up. Your hips have to go a little lower. And then if you get punished, someone has to count you doing 1,000 deep knee bends. And if he misses a count, he owes 1,000 deep knee bends. Yeah. So it was that strict thing. And then I trained with him. I got my black belt with him when I was about 17. And it wasn't because I was doing better in school or I meditated for hours on end. It's because he brought a guy in that was an old school guy. Like the guy was like early 30s and I was 17. And I was able to kick him in the head really good. And we had a full contact match in a small hallway in the gym. It was just, and he would play classical music when you sparred. He was out there, man.
You got some Vivaldi with your drunken monkeys.
Exactly, But New York. This was in New York in the early '80s, so it wasn't the New York today. It was a violent place, but also a really great place. With artists, from Andy Warhol on down. They were all over New York City, and it was a really exciting place.
It was a place in a time. It's very different than it is today. After the various waves of things that have changed it. Let's go back a ways.
Yeah.
You brought up your autobiography. You're preempting me. I was going to just do nothing but promote that thing, but you already done my job for me. So you were born Striking Eagle. Your Aztec name, Striking Eagle, in the year of the dragon. It feels like you were fated to be our hero of destiny from an early age. What was your early life like? What was it that you found yourself driven to? What were you a fan of? A bunch of people in here, fans of The Last Dragon, fans of lots of things. What did you gravitate to? Who were your heroes?
Yeah, the book is 300 pages, so I really get into details of that.
Yeah.
But in short, I was a kid who, there was some abuse in the family, and not just from my brother, so I was very introverted, And although my character really was not that way, was more extrovert. So what fascinated me were superheroes, like a lot of kids, you got comic books. I had so many comic books, my mother threw them out because I had a dresser. I put them in the dresser and throw the clothes on my bed and just put them, and everything, Archie, Batman, Superman. And I swear to God, if I had them now, I'd be a billionaire because they were all from back in the day.
Did you have a go-to? I mean, what was your die-hard, can't-miss, absolute favorite?
Well, it wasn't so much one. It was, besides the comic books, I was religiously going home to watch the original Superman and the Batman series with Adam West and Spider-Man. So that was like a routine from, I guess, as early as I can remember, but around 6. and then we left to Europe around 7, 8, so at least 2 years, that would be the thing, you know. I was like passionate because these people were so powerful in these shows, and I didn't feel that way, you know. There was something else about that. Oh yeah, in the comic books there was a, which you guys would probably remember, there was an ad about the guy who got sand kicked in his face. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yes. It's a very famous ad. And
You too can be
yeah.
like this.
If you don't know the ad, raise your hand if you've never seen that ad in a comic book. Oh, everybody's seen the ad. So that ad, along with the comic, the TV shows, it consumed my whole mind, you know. And when I went to Europe, I wasn't training martial arts anymore. I got engulfed in soccer and on soccer teams. And then there was a commercial. I was around 12, and I saw a commercial of Bruce Lee. And I didn't even see much. They didn't show all the movements, but I was like, damn, it's amazing when you're a kid, you know? It's almost like they're gods, you know? And that was it. And, you know, was it 7 years later, I ended up getting this film. And I wasn't even trying it. I mean, of course I tried for film, but I wasn't trying to be an actor.
You hadn't come out of any acting training. They give you a cold reading, and you were like, "Oh, this okay."
You read the book?
Look, man, I do my homework. Are you kidding me? I get to meet Bruce Leroy.
How'd you like the book?
I like the book a lot, man. It's really good.
Thank you.
It's really good. Everybody, like I said, should own a copy of this book. You're going to hear that about 7 more times before we're here.
Thank you.
So you have an eagerness to mentor kids. You like being able to be there and be that guy in the, you know, pump yourself up ad, you know, for kids. What has your experience been, you know, since The Last Dragon in reaching out and, you know, being part of programs, martial arts and otherwise, community programs with kids?
Yeah, well, for me, it's everybody, you know. So I've done so much work on myself that you know, when I'm with anybody, kids are the most obvious. They're the most innocent. You know, the ones that stand out that way. But people in general, I like to see them soar. You know, I like to see people really achieve their dreams. You know, so with kids, I worked on a seminar with kids where I have them make a connection between why they're in school or their schoolwork and their dreams, you know. So, and then how I do that is I get in a conversation with them about their future, you know, in a fun way, you know. Like I start out, I can even play around with you guys a little bit, like, you know, if you have a dream that you put to the side a little bit, raise your hand. Obviously, when you're in the school, all the kids raise their hand because they're kids. They're just beginning to think that way about what they would be in the future. So
they're busy thinking about recess. They're busy thinking about recess.
Right.
Math.
But with you guys out there that raise your hand, you go, okay, that dream, I put it to the side. But let's play a little game and just put it way out somewhere, like was it 2019, and allow yourself to have the feelings of achieving that dream. Even right now, just allow yourself to feel what that's like. You know, are you guys feeling it a little bit? Is it kind of like you get a little spark going? Raise your hand if you have a dream that you could say what it is that's been like put to the side a little bit. Don't be shy.
You can remember staff back there.
Oh, she's raising her hand. Oh,
Very
good. Yeah. What's the dream that you put to the side that you think about?
All of them.
Pick one.
Pick one. Okay. An artistic dream.
Specific.
Working on music.
There you go. It's a big difference between just saying artistic and then working on music, right? So let's say it's 2018, and you see the whole full corners and circle of that dream being fulfilled. Can you even start to open up your eyes and the colors of what color that would be like, and you know, people around you, and can you say a little bit about that?
What it would be like?
Yeah.
Life would be a lot better.
You see, so just on the attempt to even think about that, right? It does something to you. So when I talk to the kids, you know, that's all they've been thinking about because they don't pay rent. You know, they don't have a wife and kids.
They're not worried about overtime.
You know, so all they're thinking about, wow, I want to be this, I want to be that, you know. You know, like me, when I was a kid, all I wanted to be was Bruce Lee. You know, I was like, you know, that was it. You know, I didn't have to worry about paying bills. So, so once you start, with the kids, once they start doing that, they have fun. And they say, okay, tell me, what are you doing? Like one kid said, I want to be a UFC fighter. I was like, okay, you know, yeah, I want to do this or whatever. You know, it's all kind. They had one, I want to be a president. The other one wants to be a scientist. So they, you know, all these different things. And then you talk to them a little bit about that. And then you say, okay, now you're there. You're 25. You're out. You went to college, and you got, you know, you really got that mastery over this career, and you're really organized, and everything's working your way. And then I take them through a meditation, and the meditation is a guided meditation when they're on a road. And on the road, there is going to be an obstacle. Okay, but first on the road, I have them see all the colors that come, and that it's a safe road, and that you have assistance. So it's basically harboring confidence in society, you know, and in themselves. And then the obstacle that you see, an obstacle in front of you, and it could be a gate, it could be a fence, it could be a wall. However, if it's a gate, there's a key there sitting there for you to open it up and go through. It could be a wall. Well, you know how to climb over it. You see, so you're basically conditioning them to see that they're going to be things that they're going to deal with, but they can keep going. You know. So that's basically, whether it's an adult or a kid, that's like the concept. I've taken seminars at a place called Landmark Education. It's a really intensive training in transformation. And there's a distinction called, well, it's not so much a distinction, it was just something they talked about that I stole. And it's really funny because, and I'll do it with you guys, because when I go through all this thing with the kids and I bring this up, it's basically to tie the whole thing, the conversation together, so they really, really get it in their soul and their spirit. Otherwise, it'll just be like an interesting conversation. It has to have a conversation that really goes into themselves, so they can take action, do better in their schoolwork, and get more focused. So what happens is I'll play around with you guys with it, and just off the top of your head, don't overthink it. If I ask you where tomorrow is, raise your hand if you think you know. Or just yell it out. Where's tomorrow?
Future.
The future. Where is the future located? I heard you. You don't look back there. You're the one who spoke, right? You said future. Who said future?
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay. I'm sorry.
Where's the future? I don't know. It's coming though.
Well, I asked you where it is.
I don't know.
Ahead of you.
Anything beyond right now.
It's ahead of you.
It's ahead of you. Okay, so look, he's ahead of you. I don't think you're not named tomorrow, are you?
Wearing a Flash t-shirt, you're not traveling through time.
Just try to, if you thought of a location, just where would it be tomorrow?
Oh, you see what he's asking? Well, tell us.
That's a hard.
Well, there's not a real answer, is there?
No, it's depending on what you want in the future.
Well, the future isn't a reality, is it?
Right.
I mean, tomorrow isn't a reality because there's only this moment right now, and then another moment unfolds, and then another moment unfolds. But there's only right now, right? There's no tomorrow.
Tell that to the guy collecting rent.
Right.
There is no
Right.
It's not due tomorrow.
The guy collecting rent. Right. So that's a separate conversation, but it's tied into it because as you can see, especially when if kids can get this, I mean, you can see that there is this moment right now. There is no tomorrow. I know you're telling, but there is no tomorrow in reality.
Right.
So what does that do if you're telling the kids about their future and this dream, and you're painting all the colors of your music, and you're painting all the colors, and then I tell you, and you get from this simple conversation I took from Landmark that there is no tomorrow. And of course, with the kids, I don't really say it exactly. I say it that way, but I say tomorrow's gonna come. You can be all right tomorrow, but we're gonna be clear about this little exercise. It's just we're just playing right now, so they don't get worried about there's no tomorrow, like there's a bomb coming or something.
Yeah.
But you get you kind of, what do you get from that when you got that there's no tomorrow? There's just this moment right now.
It'll always be the present moment.
Right. So when does your dream happen?
Now.
You better start making
Right.
You
it
start
today.
making it happen.
Right. When you start-
Right. So where does the kids go like this? Oh. So that's when I'm going to school. Oh, that's. So they get real clear, real early, and things completely transform. Yeah.
Let's talk about transformation. The Last Dragon. You're in the middle of Barry Gordy and his whole operation and all of its, arms and tentacles and everything all over the place. I mean, the man ran an empire, all over the place. What was it like getting thrown into the deep end? Did you feel lost at first? Did you feel yourself finding your way as you started to go through the production?
Yeah, there's no mistake why Barry Gordy is who he is and was who he was. He's the one who made Michael Jackson develop into such a huge star, Diana Ross, and the Temptations, all the huge, biggest stars in the world. And when you work with someone like that, there's some impact in the leave on you. And he just had a gift of connecting with people, and he was very passionate. He knew what he wanted, and he wanted me for that role. And then he worked with me, and I never did a movie before. I didn't, So he's there. Other than Michael Shultz, Michael Shultz basically held the direction of the film in the big picture, because there's a lot of other characters and a lot of things going on. So Michael Shultz was making sure he took care of all that, where Barry Gordy worked directly with me. So
He was doing a lot of hands-on stuff, adjusting things on the micro level, where Shultz was kind of looking at the whole thing as a whole
Barry
piece.
Gordy basically would work with me. He worked with me all the time.
He was on you.
Yeah. Because I was the lead, everything has to work, And if I don't do it, if I'm not successful, then it's not going to work. So, because he knew I never did anything before. Denise, she didn't do anything. Vanity never did anything really with acting so much as she did with stuff with Prince. May rest in peace. Before she actually got into the film because she wanted to clean up her image and make it more of a wholesome brand.
She was originally supposed to star in Purple Rain with Prince too.
Right, and then she broke up with him, and she wanted to. He wanted to call her name Regina. He was out there with that.
This is entirely true. He's not making this up to be funny.
Yeah, so he was a great young musician trying to get attention, and he knew that sexiness was going to do it, so he would have all that around. And she was like, wait, that's not what I'm going to call my name. She was kind of alpha male anyway. Barry Gordy, he was really good at convincing you and working. It was like a sculptor. He was like a sculptor, and you trusted his opinions, not just because of who he is, but because, what do I know about this? I never worked on a movie before.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about Vanity. Sadly she passed this year as well.
Yes.
Working with her, she's trying to clean up her image. You're this handsome martial arts man, thrown into this movie as her love interest. Did you find that there was time to enjoy the fact that you had this beautiful and glamorous and talented co-star?
Yeah,
do a little flirting.
Yeah, we went on a couple of dates, but it was something because she was very, lack of a better word, not completely, but she had this Hollywood thing, and I was the complete opposite.
Girl, let's go down to the
Not that I didn't like. I went to clubs and everything and parties
Right.
and, as a young kid in New York, but she was more. She's been out there and stuff. I never went to LA or anything like that. So
You're like, let's grab a taxi. She's like, oh no, there's a thing called the town car.
you know what I mean?
We're gonna do this.
And and she was around people with a lot of money for a long time. She's been on. So when I was sitting with her and talking, we were fine, but it was just two different worlds. But I was really young, and I knew that she was kind of on a path that wasn't really going to be working for her. As you can see, most artists when they're that ambition is so strong and they're so beautiful or talented, you know, when the ambition is a little ahead of them, you know, they're gonna make mistakes, you know? You know, I made a lot of mistakes too, but mine wasn't drugs, you know? So I actually told her, I said, you know, you should stay in New York, you know? We can go out and do some theater and have fun and that. And it didn't really stick with her, because, you know, you do theater. No, I want to make movies and Grammys, you know.
I want to be in the top grossing movie of the year. I don't want to do something like you did a production of 12 Angry Men, right? Mm-hmm. You know, do something that nourishes the artistic soul.
I knew at an early age that would save her at that point. But she was, you know, she needed to hear that from like somebody that was like a very Gordy maybe, I don't know. Yeah, she, you know, Hollywood wasn't ready to, even though she did a great job in The Last Dragon, she, you know, and
Hollywood wasn't built for her back then.
Wasn't built for a beautiful woman to be
right.
This type of, you know, she would have really had to work on her chops and do what I said with the theater and stuff, because they wanted to see her be sexy and that was it. And until people like Pamela Anderson came around, where the sexiness became a brand, you know, it became a brand where it was just that, and it was all surrounded around that. Before that, you know, there were roles out there, but it wasn't. It was few and far between for those women. You know, they were just doing roles here and there. It was all about the sex. Pamela Anderson came out and got her own TV show and Baywatch, and you know, I think that's when things really exploded. You know, the only person before her really that became a huge brand, I think, was Marilyn Monroe. You know, and she was known as really like a bimbo until she started studying with Lee Strasberg and started learning to act. And she, I think, was giant. She got critically acclaimed for her acting ability because she got serious about her acting. You know, so that's kind of where in my mind I saw Vanity. You know.
You mentioned chops, and to do a little bit of wordplay, those arrow chops at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, they were real.
Those are real. Those are not faked.
No.
How long did it take you guys to actually get
Well,
that
they
on
weren't
film?
real. They didn't have a blade on them.
Okay.
That's stupid, right?
They're still there.
We got another kid out in the back. Don't worry about it. He gets in there. Take him away. Next.
We pulled this kid in off the street. We can get a dozen more.
Yeah, no. But the thing was, I was skilled at that time, you know, and it wasn't very difficult. But the main thing is why it didn't have a sharp blade at the end. You know, I'll tell you a real quick, funny story. That I did an interview about 3 weeks ago in an Australian magazine. And they said, there's a guy out here, and he really thinks you're incredible. He's his kid when he saw your movie, and he chops real arrows, and he got that from the Bruce Leroy character. And the guy has a record for chopping real blade arrows shot from like that distance at him. And he catches them.
Here, meet the guy, and you're like, dude, you are crazy.
And when you watch it, his name was Anthony Kelly. He's on YouTube. When you watch it, it doesn't look that impressive, but when you think about the fact that there's a blade on it, you're like, well, maybe I don't think I would do that, you know? You know? Yeah, because it's coming, and it's not coming like a torpedo, like, wow, but it's coming, you see it. And he's catching him, moving him, catching, you know. But the guy was like, yeah, if you come in, he's going to be so happy to meet you. I said, well, don't tell him. I want to catch the little arrow.
We got just a few minutes left. We got questions out here from you guys. Anything, burning questions for the man, the myth, the legend, Bruce Leroy Green himself.
I have one. Do you still got the glow, man?
Do you still have the glow, Master?
I'm harboring it for tomorrow's screening at Draft House. We're doing a screening, so I'm going to shit it all out there.
I saw your movie when I was in daycare, and I was like,
Teacher likes it that much. Don't worry, it's really ours.
and when you did the bullet catch, and they were like, Bruce Leroy, he can catch a bullet in his mouth, and that was every time I hear about that movie, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everywhere I go, you know, I don't care what country, what city, or what state, people just say they watch it all the time. Man. And who would have guessed, you know, it's 31 years after we shot it, that would be a reality. It's just something else, man.
Well, you bring up our friend Shonuff, the Shogun of Harlem.
Yeah.
The show.
And so what was it like working with this guy who was not a trained martial artist like you?
Right.
Was it a little bit of teaching on both ends?
Yeah, well, yeah, he was just so fun, just like in the movie. But he would stay in character. I remember when I was sitting in the theater, like where you're sitting and watching the movie, and they were having him come in and out. It was before he actually entered, and they were setting up lights. He just came to like not exactly like a WWE wrestler, but that type of presence. He walked in and he's like observing, and the extras looking at him like he's crazy. And he's walking around, and he told his crew to stay back. They were going to come in with him, they were in character, his whole crew, and stay back. He walked around, and Barry Gordy, and Michael Shultz comes over, the director, and he sees a string, and he's just walking around looking, he's ignoring them almost as they're talking to him. He goes, "What is this madness?" He looks at them. He would just come up with all kinds of stuff. Yeah. I write all about all kinds of stuff like that in the book. It's really funny.
Taimak, The Last Dragon. Available at your table?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We have any other questions, guys?
Yeah.
All right, let's
Real
get
quick, how difficult was it going from actual martial arts to movie martial arts where you actually don't hit?
Right. Yeah, no, I did exhibitions with Ron Van Cleef, live stuff where we didn't make it was more choreographed stuff, so it wasn't a major adjustment for me because I already did some of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right back here, sir.
There's not many, there's like a handful of martial artists that still doing film.
Right.
Like Donnie and a few others. Do we happen to, or in the future, can we see something?
Will you tell us about Enter the Fist?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. One is in the autobiography at the very end, I co-wrote a treatment for a follow-up to The Last Dragon that will stand on its own merits, right? Because the remake idea didn't stick because fans didn't want that, and so I put that in the end of the book to give you guys a sense of what could be done if Sony and Kerry Gordy, Barry Gordy's son, owns the rights with Sony now, take it on. I had a conversation with Kerry Gordy. He has to bring Sony in on the conversation to make it a reality. However, for something like that, they really have to be motivated because Sony's got their heads in many other projects. But we're looking at doing a screening in LA. Really get people to come out, so it would help you guys just spread the word that that I'm out here, and it would be a really great thing if Sony came out and supported it because I don't own the rights to it. They own it with Kerry Gordy.
I heard Sony could use a little bit of extra spending cash.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe they should set up the Last Dragon printing machine.
Yeah.
Because people want more of this stuff. I mean, the reason the movie came into existence in the first place is there was that passionate love of the martial arts genre stuff in the urban community in a way that hadn't been brought back since Ron Van Cleef had been doing his stuff.
Yeah.
There's a desire, there's a hunger for it.
Yeah, there's always been a hunger for martial arts films. It's just usually, with the exception of Asian martial arts films, in America there's no, like you said, the fans want some great, fun martial arts movies. There's like a missing in Hollywood. I'm glad that I'm coming back out because I think I'm going to fulfill a lot of that missing. Because there's a certain person, you have to be a certain type of person to really wake these people up because they're in suits, they're looking at, their kids are looking at Justin Bieber and all that stuff. And not to put Justin Bieber out, but it's not.
No, you can. You're fine.
I think you're good in this room, actually.
We're all above 20. Oh, actually, no, but there has to be something real. I'm a real martial artist, and I think that's important. Donnie Yen is a real martial artist. I think that you have to understand that to really bring the fire from there, to bring the every aspect of what's making, instead of doing a Charlie's Angels, which is not a real martial arts film. It may be entertaining to a certain level,
Yeah.
but it loses its legs over time.
You're throwing it in as a gimmick.
Exactly. That's Bruce Lee had the charisma, and Bruce Lee also was a wonderful and studied martial artist. So when he brought those two things together and his acting ability, which I thought was very good, you're compelled to watch, And I think, I think I have the talent to do that. I think there are other people that have talents, but it really has to be pushed out into Hollywood, and someone who has to take that on seriously.
We're running short of time. I have one last one for you, and everybody can definitely go see Taimak over at his table. I mentioned before we came in, my mom's white, my dad's Chinese Cuban. You're mixed as well, and I'm always curious because, in particular, the mixed race experience is something I found to be very, very unique for me. To some people, I'm not quite enough of this one thing, or I'm too much of this thing, for them to be altogether comfortable with me. Did you run into prejudices or issues? When you were doing The Last Dragon and following after that, trying to get other stuff started?
I was not black and Italian. I never was brought up that way, to look at myself, as one or the other and everything. And I see it on all sides. I see it on black side, I see it on white side, I see it all kinds of confusion. And I think it's a mistake to wrap your identity up in the color of your skin, because the color of your skin isn't who you are, Oh, thank you. The color of your skin isn't who you are. Basically, we're all survival beings, so we fall into little cliques and little groups, and we're being small as people. Normally, the average person is being a small person. We get wrapped up in identity, where who you are is like the perfect example. Look, it may not be your cup of tea, but David Bowie, Prince, these guys had courage, because they didn't live by your expectations or your judgments. That had nothing to do with their life, They lived, we're on this planet for a short period of time, and most people are living according to everybody else's concerns and judgments, So if you start measuring yourself, life will be over, and you're like, damn, I should have did that, damn, you look at other people doing it, you're like, damn, I wish I could. Well, you can, and who cares if people think you're silly? You might be alone for a while, but you're doing your thing. It's like Frank Sinatra did it his way, right?
Yeah.
So that's really
That's the most Italian thing anybody's said in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, but that's the bottom line. It's like, as I was younger, I had different hang-ups here and there, but as I've matured, I don't ever think about what you think about me, whether you're black, white, Asian, Latino, because everybody is unique when they start peeling all that off. Who's really behind there is hidden. When it comes out, that's going to be the great thing, for the person to experience being themselves, who they really are.
I can't think of a more inspiring way to end things. Thank you so much. Seeing you on the screen meant a lot to me. A number of us out here who felt like we were being represented as somebody that the mass market didn't care about as much. And you continue to persevere means a lot to a lot of people. Let's hear it again for Taimak.
Thanks, guys.